this edition of the Government News Brief for Thursday, November 3rd, 2016. In the news, Attorney General says special prosecutors can be used in high-profile cases, Bartica residents to benefit from improved homes, and aromatic rice production to increase. I am Renetta LaFleur, and this is the Government News Brief. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us, and now for the details. The Attorney General says there is nothing wrong with the use of special prosecutors in several high-profile cases. We have the details in this report.
Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams says that the decision to go with special prosecutors in several high-profile cases was made after staff from the Director of Public Prosecutions DPP's office indicated they were uncomfortable prosecuting these matters.
It's suggested that they're political cases, and some might indicate they might have known the minister, some things like that. But I think it's largely because they felt they might be more of a political nature.
The Attorney General adds that while it is the state prosecutor's job to defend matters, the government does not want the cases to be poorly represented.
If they're employed as state counsel and they're assigned matters, they have the duty to discharge their responsibilities. But as I said, we don't want people whose heart is not in it to mess up their prosecutions.
The government has announced that it will be using special prosecutors after it wraps up investigations into cases involving Pradoville 2 and Cricket World Cup, among others. AG Williams maintains that there has been no breach of the Constitution in going with special prosecutors.
The important thing is to have an impartial judge or magistrate in these cases. And of course, anyone charged has a right to have a defense counsel of their choice.
AG Williams says special prosecutors have already been identified to deal with these cases. The Attorney General adds he does not foresee the DPP having any problems issuing approval granting permission for the use of special prosecutors. For the Government News Brief, I'm Tiffany Rogers.
Several Bartica residents will soon benefit from improved homes with the receipt of a government subsidy. Gabriela Patram has more.
The Central Housing and Planning Authority, CHMPA, held their second home improvement subsidy distribution in Bartica Region 7 at the Tangs Community Center yesterday. 12 residents received their subsidy. Minister within the Ministry of Communities, Valerie Adams Patterson, expressed her joy in being at the newly established Tang to present the subsidies. The minister reminded the residents that the subsidy is part of giving back to the people of Guyana for the 50th independence anniversary.
The only disappointment I have is that only 12 persons will be receiving this subsidy. It means that either persons did not know of this promotion, or some people didn't pay attention.
The vouchers that the 12 residents receive are for hardware supplies to effect repairs to their homes. They will be redeemable at pre-approved suppliers from December 1st to January 31st, 2017. Beneficiaries of the subsidy expressed how they felt upon receiving it.
I plan to use it to add on toilet to my house. I'm very happy about the whole situation. At least it's something good. Housing doing in return onto us. So we're thankful for the little subsidy that they give on to us.
I'm so happy so that I can erect my trestle that I requested. And I'm thankful that they paid back so much to our region. And I'm so happy also for the others that received the voucher too.
Providing affordable and adequate housing is part of the government's effort towards creating communities with necessities for wholesome and dignified living for citizens in need. This was outlined by President David Granger in his address at the opening of the 11th Parliament. For the Government News Brief, I am Gabriela Patram.
The Guyana Rice Development Board is intensifying efforts to produce aromatic rice on a larger scale. More in this report.
The Guyana Rice Development Board, GRDB, is collaborating with private farmers to expand the potential of producing aromatic rice. Research Assistant Dr. Mahindra Prasad explains.
We are currently expanding the production and marketing, and it's been going well. From last season, we had around 300 acres in the farmer's field, and this current season that is harvesting, it's around 3,000 acres in the farmer's field, and that's destined for in collaboration with the millers destined for export.
The reason for exploring aromatic rice production on a larger scale is in response to the demand for specialty rice on the international market. The GRDB has recognized the tremendous financial returns that is directly obtained upon the exportation of the rice.
The price being paid for specialty rice was in some cases more than 100% of what was being paid for regular white rice. And so that became very attractive. Prices reach as much as $1,200 per ton when it's being traded globally. So you can see once Guyana can respond to an increase in demand for specialty rice and get the rice to be grown in larger volumes, larger acreages, which would mean larger tonnage being produced, and tap into the appropriate markets, then we can have economic benefits for the stakeholders involved.
It was noted that there are few production challenges as compared to regular rice varieties.
The fertilizer regime is the same. It's almost yielding the same as any other variety in Guyana. It's around 38, 40, 42. Better farmers have reported, and we have data to back up that, a bit more yield than that, but you could get 6-7 tons using the aromatic, so it's quite productive in the field.
In 2015, the Ministry of Agriculture has launched its new line of the aromatic rice variety. The product has already been presented to the international market through surveys boosting awareness. The government is currently in the stage of securing export markets for the rice. For the Government News Brief, I am Delicia Haynes.
The Mayor and City Council of Bartica Region 7 wants residents to change the way they deal with garbage disposal. Paul McAdam reports.
Mayor of Bartica, Gifford Marshall, in a recent interview with the Government Information Agency, GINA, explained that the township is preparing to launch a new solid waste sensitization program. The focus will be to sensitize residents on proper garbage disposal habits and the system to play their role in keeping the town clean, he says.
And this sensitization program will seek to educate residents a house-to-house system whereby on proper waste management procedures and so forth. We've just spent just under $20 million at the Baidurabo dump site, and it looks good for now. But if the same attitude continues, if we don't have behavioral changes, then we're going to go back into some problems, right? So we're working feverishly with Ministry of Communities, more so central government, to ensure that we educate residents on proper waste management.
The mayor explained that the program will be funded by the central government through the Ministry of Communities.
We're expecting to have some funding from central government, more so Ministry of Communities. We would have loved to fund the project ourselves, but of course, like everything else, it's a new tongue. We're still in the baby stages, and revenue is a major concern. Well, a major, somewhat hindrance to many of the projects that we want to proceed with. So we're seeking funding from them.
The township of Bartica recently secured $20 million from central government to restore the overused Baidurabo dump site after years of complaints by residents about the environmental and health risks it poses. Now that work is on the way on the dump site and the waste management project, the mayor and city council is hoping that the new program will get residents to play their part in keeping their environment clean. Government has been pumping significant sums of money into Bartica and other municipalities across the country to curb the waste disposal problem that has gripped the nation. The concentrated effort on effective waste management is part of the larger effort to make the country green or environmentally friendly. Paul McAdam for Government News Brief.
There is a push to get more Guyanese involved in promoting their country's tourism potential. Zanil Williams has the details.
The National Tourism Policy, after wide consultation with stakeholders across Guyana, has been completed and will be presented to the Parliament shortly. Director General of Tourism, Donald Sinclair, says the policy will focus primarily on enlightening residents of the region of the economic impact of expanding tourism through ongoing training.
The emphasis on communities is very important because we want to get regions more involved in tourism planning. We want regional officials to put tourism activities on their budgets so that, for example, the infrastructure works that they have in mind for their regions, they should see how those infrastructural works will benefit tourism.
Sinclair says that this policy will be the first of its kind in Guyana. It will be a reference to guide the tourism sector for the next 5 years and will be reviewed to update recommendations.
Tourism policy is something that we never had. The document sets out where we want to go as a destination. This is why it had to be based on consultation. We had to know what the industry wanted, what communities wanted, what the stakeholders wanted, what consultants have recommended.
Tourism can create employment, enhance economic welfare, and improve the physical, economic, and social aspects of villages. The policy will guide tourism activities and interventions in the country. It will also focus on ecotourism, cruise visits, and yachting as part of selling Guyana more effectively on the international market. I am Zanil Williams for the Government News Brief.
Representatives of 17 meat and fish processing and export industries participated today in a one-day workshop hosted by the Veterinary Unit of the Ministry of Public Health. The workshop is intended to help improve the standards of produce, more specifically fish being exported. Minister of Public Health Dr. George Norton urged stakeholders to focus more on having Guyana export more fin fish and products while the high demand for shellfish is being met. Minister in the Ministry of Public Health Dr. Karen Cummins also announced that the approval has been given for the exportation of fresh and processed fish from Guyana to European countries. Meanwhile, both ministers stressed the need for a more effective implementation of the Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point System, HACCP, which will basically monitor the quality and standards of produce being exported and also to strive at having the best of its kind in the Caribbean. We have come to the end of today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on GINA's website. We encourage you to subscribe to our website and YouTube channel. You can also like us and follow us on Facebook to be updated as the news unfolds. Do join us again tomorrow for another edition of the Government News Brief. I am Renetta LaFleur, thanking you for watching.